Hello, friends, and welcome to the Activity Continues podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Amy.
And I'm Megan.
Okay. We discuss episodes of the Travel Channel's TV show, The Dead Files. Tonight, Megan is recapping for you Never Human, Season 12, Episode 9, which originally aired March 26, 2020. So how did you land on this one?
You know what? I really just picked some numbers, honestly. Okay. There's no rhyme or reason. Like, right. I'm not, strategically doing like math equations, which I can't do on my own anyway. So, right. And when I first started watching it, it was about a woman who was newly married. And I'm like, I've already done one of those. And I'm like, oh my God, did I do this one already? But I went back through all of the shows and all of our notes and I didn't see it. And once I watched it, I hadn't seen it. It was all new to me, which, to be fair, my mental memory is not super great. So that doesn't mean anything. But I hadn't seen it before. So
it's not on my note cards. So
yeah, beautiful note cards and no content warnings this time.
Oh,
there weren't. I mean, other than death and the usual. But
I mean, someone's got to die for there to be a ghost, right?
Right. But there wasn't any murders or there is a mining accident.
Oh,
like a coal mine. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
that's where we're at with the show right now. And Speaking of shows, I went to And That's Why We Drink live show.
How was it?
Fucking phenomenal.
Oh, good.
So I did buy these tickets back in February of 2020. And then something happened.
What was that?
Where we couldn't go in public for decades.
Trying to remember.
It was supposed to be April of 2020 was the show. And then it just never happened. And so it happened last night. And I was smiling the whole time. I mean, when I wasn't terrified, because their show was different. And I don't want to say anything, even though their tour is over, but they did ask people who went to the show to not talk about the show because it was a different setup and they wanted people to be surprised. And so I don't want to say anything, even though I know it was their last show on this tour, but I don't know if they're going to do another tour. So
they might want to do some of the same stuff.
Yeah. And so I don't want to say anything about what the show was, but it was really good. Good. And they were so close and I was fangirling. So it was at the Pantages in Minneapolis. And so I got a seat in the balcony center. So like I could see them. Oh God, I loved them. I just was so happy.
Good.
It was such a fun night. And before that, Amy and her friend Allison and I went out to dinner at the Wooden Paddle Eatery, which was kind of pricey, but I'm like, I've been waiting 2.5 years for this night. Like I'm going to enjoy it.
Yep.
So I didn't even think about the price of the meal, which I maybe should have, but don't tell anybody.
It's okay.
No, it was so fun. It was so fun. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So, this weekend, I also spent far too much money on a meal. We had tickets, or not tickets. It feels like it. It was. We had reservations at Charlie's Cafe at the Minneapolis Club, which I used to work there, and so we had they had renovated what used to be the restaurant, the main restaurant. They renovated it into a replica of Charlie's Cafe Exceptional, which was famous in the Twin Cities or Minneapolis in I think it opened in the 40s and it was open all the way through 82.
Oh, wow.
Or 80 something. And I never went there. At least if I did, I don't recall. But because of my other podcast where we talk about Minnesota history, our next episode, we're going to be talking about Charlie's Cafe and people around it, people who owned it and all that stuff. So that's kind of why we wanted to go so badly, is because we already knew about that. So my other co-host, Heather, and Greg and I went to Charlie's.
So fun.
It was good, but is it pricey?
Yeah. Oh, you told me about one of the entrees and I was like, oof da. In typical Minnesotan, I was like, oof da.
Oh dear. Oh my stars. Dear.
Oh goodness sakes. That is just so expensive.
Yeah, it was. And I kept going, we only do this every 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we put it on a credit card, so
It's not real money. It's fine.
We'll survive.
Yeah.
We'll survive. It'll be fine. Okay, so what else we got? Oh,
oh my God. I didn't get a chance to get it yesterday, and I'm so sad, but it looks so good.
Here's
Amy
right
just
here.
modeled our new. Oh,
for those of you who are not watching the video, you're going to be confused, but it comes in these cute little box.
Look at that. It always seems impossible until it's done. Yeah, that's the motto on the box.
Yeah, this is from Canva.
Yeah, I love their stuff. Look at that. That turned out so cute, and I love the colors.
I do too. I think it turned out really good. I'm excited. So I don't know, though, how to let other people buy our shirts from Canva, but I was able to set up a company called Bonfire, which I already had started an account with them for my other podcast, and I made this shirt over there. So I will put the links in the show notes, and you guys can all go buy shirts.
Yes.
I would like to figure out how you can do it from Canva, because these are nice. It's good quality. It took a little while to get here, but it's nice.
But that's okay.
It's soft, and it's cheaper than it is over on Bonfire. But I don't know how we would, like, on Bonfire, we would make some money if someone bought a shirt. On Canva, I don't think they could, but I don't think it would, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine if they want to buy our shirts.
Yeah. I mean, they're
once we get our cult,
right?
I mean, obviously we'll have to switch it over to Bonfire where we make money, but until the cult really solidifies, I think it's fine.
Right. I think it's fine too. Speaking of cult, we have, I know you know this already, but you can pretend to be excited.
I don't have to pretend because I'm still chasing the high.
I know. We have a new patron.
And you guys, it's somebody we don't know. And
we don't know.
Or they, I don't know their pronouns, but
I don't either.
This new patron is in Ireland.
Yes. I know. It's so exciting.
Welcome from the Emerald Isle.
Right.
I love everything about your country. Yeah. And I wish that I lived there.
I would like to go.
If we do an international tour, we'll start there.
Of course. Or
and
Scotland.
You can have a free ticket.
Or we'll just go to Scotland, and I probably will just hide somewhere so that I don't have to come back.
Yeah, and then it'll turn into like frickin' Amy's missing, but really she's just hiding in a closet laughing because she doesn't want to come back.
Right.
I'll be like, Amy.
I'll be in a pub.
It'll be like when you're looking for toddlers and you can totally hear them laughing because they're like hiding behind the curtain, but their feet are out. And I'll be like, where's Amy? And she'll be drunk standing behind a curtain, like thinking I can't see her. And Greg and I will just be like, okay, come. Well, all right. And then I'll say, oh my God, there's a dog. And then she'll run out and I'll find her. Yeah. Oh my God, look at this cute puppy that just came here. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
That's what'll happen.
I could see it. I could see it happening.
So yes, she told me on Thursday when we were testing the mic because I don't know if you've noticed, but the last few episodes I've sounded like I'm in a tunnel, and Amy is, bless her, she's doing everything she could to fix it. But you know what helps is if you have the microphone turned towards you. So it catches all of your words and sound and not turned away from you, which is what I was doing. So hopefully this sounds much better. And we did have some help with Steve from Haunted UK.
Yep.
He was doing us super solid by helping us out with the audio that I was fucking up. And Steve is like,
wasn't all you.
It was a solid 90% me.
I don't think so.
Steve's like, you know what you should do? You should really work on microphone placement. Yeah. And Amy's like, we solved that.
Said, yeah, I think we figured that part out.
Amy's like, your microphone should look shiny. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't. No,
I was telling her, and those of you who are watching the video will be able to see this. I was like, you can turn the volume up right here on the front. And she goes, well, my volume's on the back. I'm like, well, it shouldn't be because you have the same microphone I do. So let's see if we can figure out what's going on.
Wait a second. Your volume? No, that's Megan.
And I don't know what happened because the first several episodes.
I know.
I mean, you've had that microphone since day one.
Yeah.
And the first several episodes sounded great. So I could not figure out what was wrong. I'm like, why does it sound so tinny?
Yeah.
Well, that's why.
And I kept reading it as tiny.
Oh,
so I was like, oh my God, I sound little. How
I
does
sound
that
tiny.
work?
I'll keep it.
How do I sound? Do I otherwise sound big? I don't understand. So it was just so much. This is my superpower, you guys. I spread confusion everywhere. And so the point is, Steve from Haunted UK has been a dream.
Yes.
Working so hard to try to fix my fuck up. So if you haven't yet, go listen to Haunted UK because he does such good research.
He does. And I just listened to the latest episode, which is up on reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it, he did a whole bunch of bloopers and they were hilarious. So it show's not normally funny. It's not a funny show. It's pretty serious.
Yeah.
But he's got that great, accent.
Sexy accent, I think is what you meant to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hot. It's
I do love a UK accent.
Steve, you randy man.
So he has a production studio that he does. Mm-hmm. He mixes music and podcasts, and it's called Pink Flamingo Music Productions. And so I wanted to give him a shout out because he was so helpful to us.
Mm-hmm.
And
super helpful.
So we're going to be playing his promo during our promo break, and also a new one called Mums, Mysteries, and Murder.
And I love the alliteration there.
Yeah,
because
I know you like those MMMs and TTTs and all that. Yeah, yeah. They are two ladies who live in Scotland. I know.
Oh my God.
One of them is Scottish. The other's Australian.
I wonder how did she end up in Scotland?
I don't know. I don't think.
Did she marry a local brogue? Wait, no, that's not what the word is. That's what you'd talk about their accent.
The accent is a brogue. Yeah, but I think that's Irish. Is a brogue.
I thought it was Scottish.
Maybe Scottish. Okay.
I don't know. You guys, I'm not trying to offend anybody, so please don't think I'm just a stupid American. So I'm just blame our education system.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It does kind of suck. So we're going to be playing their promo too, and if you're listening to their show, you'll probably hear us. And it is so weird to be listening to one of these podcasts in the Boo Pod Network, and like I flipped on
your voice.
Yeah, I think well, I don't remember which show it was. Maybe it was this one, but I flipped it on, and I was expecting to hear, a podcast, and it was us, and I'm like, what? And they played it right in the beginning, like right before their show even started. So I'm like, did I pull the wrong thing up?
Yeah, I know. I've heard like with Shit and Bricks, they played it. And it was such a high, but it was also so fucking weird because you're like, oh my God, an ad. But it's me.
It's me.
It's and then of course they give us their ads. And I know at least Amy has listened to several other shows from our ads. So at least others are getting, listeners, and hopefully we are too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think we did get a pretty good set of downloads on the first, the episode that we released on Friday.
Well, I think, to be fair, that episode was hilarious.
It was a good one.
Oh my God. We had way too much fun recording. At least I did.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was a fun one to do.
We had a good time with that.
I mean, we always have a good time, but that was like an exponentially high good time.
Yeah, you were in a really silly mood.
I know.
That helps.
I don't know what
that always helps. I have another little thing to show you. So this is, again, I'll probably cut this part out for the audio, but so when I was trying to figure out my microphone and stuff, this pop filter thing that goes over that. Pop. Yeah. It's supposed to stop those. It was annoying me, and it was in the way, and I was trying to adjust my volume and I couldn't. And so I just picked it up and threw it over my head. Right. So then tonight I'm back trying to set everything up and get ready for tonight, and I couldn't find it. I'm looking all over behind me. I'm looking behind everything up. It's in the abyss somewhere, right? So I had another one because I have two of these microphones. So I went and grabbed the other one. And as I grabbed the other one, I turn around and there's Gracie sitting on the floor, chewing open the other one.
Gracie!
Yeah, little turd. So this one is now dead. So now I can throw it over my shoulder. So, yep.
Naughty girl.
I know.
She's your only. Oh no, you have Vivian. I was gonna say she's your only girl, but no.
Yeah, no, she's the older girl.
You think she'd be better behaved.
No, she's not.
But it's Gracie. She's the worst. I mean the worst in terms of behavior, not like the worst dog.
Right. Well, she's a brat.
She is a brat.
She's a real brat.
She is. I need to actually touch base with Amy because she went on a retreat, not a retreat, but like a vacation up north, and her hotel was haunted.
Oh,
and
right.
One of her shirts went missing and she hasn't found it yet. And so I need to see if she's found it yet. I know I can't remember all she said because Dory, but she said a couple of times some things went missing and then they would appear. She said she heard somebody giggling or talking to her in the middle of the night.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I need to ask her. I totally forgot to ask her last night if her shirt has reappeared. She said she went through the whole hotel room. She looked in her car. She unpacked her entire suitcase and repacked her entire suitcase. Wow. She looked through all the drawers, the closets, everything in the bathroom. She said it was nowhere to be found. All the beds, all the probably the 2 beds, like pulled the covers back.
Yeah.
Nothing. So I need to follow up with her to see if it has turned up. And she even told the ghost, like, this isn't funny. Like, I need this shirt.
Yeah.
So,
wow. Yeah, that'll be fun to hear.
I need to touch base with her to see if she's found it or not. Or if the ghost just took it. Maybe it really liked that shirt. In which case, that's a high compliment.
Why does a ghost need a shirt?
Maybe it reminded them of something when they were alive, or they just like the pattern. I don't know. I don't pretend to know what ghosts feel.
No, I don't either.
So I'm not a
Speaking
ghost
of
expert.
ghosts, you said you started watching a new paranormal show?
Oh my God, I did, but I had to turn it off because it was too scary.
What was it called?
It's called Paranormal Night Shift on Discovery Plus, and it talks about people who work the night shift and have paranormal activity happening. I know it's really, you can't discern that from the title, so I'm sure that you're like, Megan, what's this show about?
Tell me.
Let me tell you. And so the one that I watched, the first episode, I didn't even make it through the first episode, you guys. And the first one they talked to, his name was Tim, and he was an overnight DJ. And the reenactments are really spooky.
All right, I'll have to watch
it. You would love it. It was so good.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a good show. I just was like, okay, I'm in the basement. It's kind of dark and I'm scared. So I stopped watching that. But it was good, not because I didn't like it, but because I'm a baby. And then I watched The Circle. I'm not caught up yet. I'm on episode 7, I think. Okay. And so they haven't gotten any new people since Rachel and Nathan.
Okay.
So I know you had said that there were some new people that come. I haven't gotten there yet. So I'm assuming they're coming soon. Yep. They just blocked spoiler alert. But I was sad because like you, I like them all. Yeah. Yuling is growing on me. There was something about her that I didn't really like. I couldn't put my finger on it, and it's not like I hated her. Like the first girl that went home, I couldn't stand her. Would you call her Tits McGee? Yeah, I didn't like her.
No, she didn't know what a memoir was. Sorry, Tits McGee, if you're listening.
Who doesn't know what a memoir is? But other than her, I love them all. Like Brew, so cute.
I know. I didn't like him at first, and I didn't think I was going to. And he ended up, he's so sweet. He's actually a really sweet guy.
What's the guy's name that plays his mom? Is that John?
That's John. Yeah.
John. When he was talking about his sex life with Alyssa, I was crying.
I know.
When she talks about the vulva hug, and I about died. I mean, he is really dedicated to coming across as Carol. Yeah. But this is a really good season. So I'm really interested to see Frank. I love his sass. Oh, yes.
Frank's the best.
He's the best.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been watching. I started a new book series that my coworker recommended to me, and it is, I'm really chatty. I'm sorry. And it is,
it's a podcast. It's a talk show. You're supposed to be chatty.
It's Twilight. I mean, it's a Twilight, but I fucking love it. There's a main character whose parents die, and of course she's the, like all young adult fiction. Oh, I'm just an awkward girl, but I'm also extraordinary beautiful, but I don't know that I'm beautiful. Of course. And there's 2 guys fighting over her. Of course. And I'm like, okay, so we've got Bella, we've got Edward, we've got Jacob, we have Jessica, who's her cousin, like her father figure in the form of her uncle, who's kind of a little, clueless, but really good heart. And I'm just like, this is fucking even the cover, because I don't know if you know, I'm sure you don't, but the cover of Twilight is a black background.
Yeah.
With the apple.
Yeah, I have the first book.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
And so this one, it's a black background with a white like flower that's got some red on it. And I'm like, could you have copied Twilight anymore?
Right.
But I love it. So
yeah, of course.
I stayed up till 12 reading it last night.
Oh my gosh. I started reading a book too on my Kindle. Mm-hmm. It's I sort of joined a Facebook book club. Yeah. And so they picked a book, and I remember voting on, it was a choice of a bunch of different books, and I remember voting for the one that was a paranormal romance. And I think that's the one that made it. Although now I started reading it and I don't see anything paranormal yet so far. But it's cute. It's like a romantic comedy.
Book clubs are so fun.
Yeah, they are pretty cool.
So, anything else?
Let's see what else. Our next episode is going to be my turn to present, and I am doing the Alcatraz episode. It was a special investigation in the Alcatraz, and I've seen it. It was really good. It was really spooky. It was very brutal. There's some stories about things that happened while it was a prison. Yeah,
it was not a good place, which explains why it's so haunted, because
my God,
the things that were done to those poor prisoners. Even if you're a prisoner, I'm sorry, nobody deserves some of the things that they had
and things they did to each other. There were riots where they were setting people on fire and stuff. It's really bad.
Yeah.
So
poor Amy.
I know. So I'm going to do that one. So I am asking listeners if they have stories, like if they visited Alcatraz, if they've gone there on a tour or whatever. But if any of you have any stories about visiting, touring, anything that you know about it, if you have ancestors that were locked up there or anything, hit us up. Let me know. We'll read them on the show.
Us up. Isn't that where Al Capone was? Was Alcatraz?
I do believe Al Capone was there. Machine Gun Kelly was there. He was one of the first.
Not the weird artist now, but the
the real gangster.
Yeah, the real gangster.
Yep.
Yeah.
George, I believe his name is George Kelly. Machine Gun Kelly. Anyway, so there's that. Oh, and then after that episode, that's going to be our 20th episode. Whoop, whoop. Most podcasts don't make it past 7.
Party like a rock star. Yeah. Party like a rock star.
So,
and by party like a rock star, I mean have some wine and then go to bed by 9.
Yep.
Somebody put that on a pillow.
Yeah. Chug wine in bed by 9.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I do. So after that episode, we're going to take a little bit of a break. Not too long, I don't think. And patrons, don't you worry. We'll still be posting stuff for you because, you're supporting us. We're not going to just quit putting stuff out. We have a bunch of stuff that we have cut from episodes that we just thought, oh, nobody needs to hear us talk about that or whatever. But that might be fun for people that actually like us and want to support us. So I think we're going to I'm not really going to take any kind of a break, but because I'll be just putting together other episodes. But I'm going to work on sound stuff, make sure that all of our episodes sound great. If it means I have to buy more equipment, I guess I'll have to do that, but hopefully not.
That's a sacrifice you're willing to make.
I will.
I mean, we appreciate it.
We'll see if I can. Anyway, so then we will be, we'll take maybe a month off or so, so that we can enjoy some summertime. And then we'll start up again with season 2.
Season 2.
Yep. So if anybody has any suggestions for us about show format or episodes of the Dead Files you want us to cover, are there other shows that you like that you think we should watch and talk about? We could do that too.
And we could maybe do that as some bonus content for Patreon.
Yep.
Yeah. So any
there's
ideas,
other shows that we're watching. So
we're not totally, set on the Dead Files. I mean, obviously that's our main content, but we're open to what you guys want.
Yeah, for sure.
What we can do other stuff. Want from us? That's legal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important. I was
very good distinction.
I was fiddling with the little rubber band that came off of the pop, and I flung it. Now it's gone.
And now it's gone. And Grace
that's right.
will probably get it. Oh, good. Yeah.
Okay. So, did we get everything? Shows we're watching. So. Alcatraz, promo partners, new patron. La, 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 la. I think that's it.
Okay. Should we dive right in?
Let's dive right in.
25 minutes of gabbing. We'll just dive right in.
Are you interested in stories of ghosts, poltergeists, and the paranormal? Do you love an amazing tale of an unsolved mystery, a strange disappearance? How about a UFO encounter, or even a first-hand sighting of a creature that should only exist in your nightmares? Why not join us over at the Haunted UK podcast, where every 2 weeks we delve deep into the tales of the strange and unusual, the unsolved and the downright weird. The Haunted UK podcast is available on all major platforms, as well as being on Instagram and Coffee. So why not give us a follow and get involved with the show? Thanks for listening, and we really hope that you'll join us for our next episode. And on that note, it's back to the show.
Yep.
So we are, oh my God, I didn't see where we were. Oh, it's in Ohio, it says. That's all I got.
Okay.
So we're in Ohio and we're with Holly, and Holly is newly married to her husband, Steve. Or not Steve. Jesus Christ, Amy. It's going real well. Okay, I'm starting over. Okay.
Hello and welcome to... Kidding.
Oh my God, I haven't even drank today.
I'm not either. I have iced tea.
Is it from Long Island?
Yeah. No, it's from Caribou.
Okay, so we're with Steve and Holly. Holly is the one who called. She's newly married to her husband, Mike. And she feels that something in her house is evil and attacking her family, and it's trying to tear apart her marriage. So she shows a picture. It's her and her husband, and then her son Dryden, who's 3, and her son Cyril, who is 7, and he's on the autism spectrum, and he's nonverbal. So stuff happens to him, and he can't tell her what's going on.
Yeah.
So Steve asks if she's tried to do anything to kind of fix the problem, and she said she's tried 2 mediums who came to her house and blessed the house, and it only got worse.
Oh.
Steve asks her what what they experience, and she says they have creepy sounds, they feel watched. She'll become, or she thinks the activity is becoming violent. And when she's, talks about that, she says that her mood will change really, really fast. She said she'll be in a really good mood, which is super common. We hear it a lot in these stories where they have just abrupt mood changes from really good mood. And then she gets really pissed off, and most of the time at her husband. And she said a lot of the time she's not even aware of what she's saying or she's doing. She said she's told him that she doesn't want to be his wife anymore. She can't stand him. And then, she'll kind of come to, and he'll be looking at her like, what the fuck is going on? And she doesn't remember saying it.
Wow.
She thinks he's at his breaking point, and she thinks he's going to leave her. She's afraid her marriage will fail, and the stress is killing her. And then Steve says, and this is a sound clip, Steve says, well, we're here now, and kind of puts his hand on hers. And just so sweet.
So sweet.
Yeah, he's just so, and I have a little heart emoji next to that. So I'm like, Steve. So we go to the basement, and Holly says she doesn't feel comfortable. Nobody feels comfortable down here. She feels like they're being watched. And he says, do you feel that now? And she said, yes, I feel it right now. And he said, where's it coming from? And she says, it's coming from the back room. And so Steve puts his hand on her arm, and she says, okay, you wait here, and I'm going to go check it out, because he's the best in the entire fucking world.
Yeah.
And
she's like, don't leave me here.
And he's like, no, I'm just going to go check the scariest room. And
right.
He's like, oh, this is fucking creepy. He doesn't say that, but I'm sure that's
he's thinking it.
He's thinking it. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Steve, we're so connected.
Yeah.
So he goes into the room. It's lots of cobwebs. Like nobody goes in there. And he says it's creepy, but Steve doesn't get anything from it. Mm-hmm. So he asks her what else happens. She said she'll hear footsteps, she'll hear noises. And he said, what do the footsteps sound like? She said they're very heavy, definitely adult. It's not, kids, or it's not dogs, even though Steve didn't. I kept asking him, what I kept waiting for him to ask if it was the dogs.
Right.
However, this episode you can play a fun drinking game. Anytime Steve says, not for nothing, take a drink. Nothing. Because he says it a lot during the episode.
He'll be drunk.
You would be DRUNCK. Drunk. She also hears voices, all male. And she said she has been told upstairs in her room to get out. Not the TV. She said the TV wasn't on. There was nobody else around who could have said it. And the last thing she said in the basement is that they'll see shadow figures. She said they see they see two main ones, a large one that blocks out an entire doorway and another one that is smaller. She said it definitely feels negative and it's trying to make her uncomfortable, which I'm going to say, interject something here. I thought my ghost was negative, but he wasn't. I just think, that common adage, we fear what we don't know.
Yep.
You don't know what's going on, so you're going to think it's negative, because really when you think of something haunting you, it's almost always a demon. And so that's what you think. And so I just wanted to interject that even if you think it's negative, Frank was not negative. Frank was actually there to watch out for me and protect me. So
he was kind of like a guide when you
he was. Yeah, he was totally a guide. He was, like I've said, I think there are at least 2 situations that he got me out of that I probably would have died in.
Wow.
So
thanks,
then
Frank.
Thanks, Frank. So then we go to Cyriel's bedroom. And this is her older son who's on the spectrum. She said both her children have woken up with marks that look almost like bites or chicken pox. And Steve even says, like, this looks like chicken pox. Have you gone to the doctor? And she says, yeah. And the doctors can't explain it. They don't know what it is. Holly's been scratched in the shower. And Steve says, was the water really hot? And I'm like, Steve, hot water does not look like scratches. Okay.
That's really hard water.
Yeah, that is hard water. And then another thing, Holly said she was laying in bed. She felt a hand come all the way up her body and then push her head down into the pillow to where she couldn't move. Yeah, it was not good. So then we go out to Zach, who's a family friend, and they're out in a field. And he said he's really worried about the kids. He worries about their safety, especially Cyriel, because, he can't talk about what's happening and stuff is obviously happening to him. So everybody's kind of worried about him and the son Dryden as well. But, he's able to communicate better. Right. So he's talked about experiences that he had. He said the first one was in the basement. He said he felt something as soon as he got to the top of stairs going down. He said he felt really uneasy and he thinks it's demonic, which again, people think that because that's, one thing that we really only know of.
Yeah.
We think ghosts, but ghosts typically we don't generally think of as being negative. So he said he feels watched, but I think Steve could have led him there with this question because Steve said, Holly said she feels watched. Do you feel that too? And since I'm watching the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, I'm personally kind of a lawyer now, and I would object to leading the witness on that one. Yep. So he did say that, but also, again, I'm not discrediting him and I'm not discrediting his experience, but I also think that Steve might have led him there. And he said he also feels the hair on the back of his neck stand up. So Steve is like, wow, that's a lot of shit. He didn't say that, but I'm paraphrasing. And then, so he said in the field where they're in, he said he thought he saw something that looked like a deer, but it walked upright. He said it was taller than he was. He doesn't know what it was. And he said it doesn't want any of them there.
That sounds like a Wendigo.
Yeah, it does, but we'll get to it.
Okay.
So now we're next is Mike's husband. And you know what? He fooled me here, you guys, because when he first started talking, he starts talking, saying that she'll wake up and she'll say that she's done with their marriage. She doesn't remember. And Steve is like, well, Holly thinks that you're at the point of leaving. Are you? And he goes, no, she's my wife. I'm here through sickness and in health. And I was like, oh my God, Mike.
I know. So
just
sweet.
Fucking wait. Mike is not nice. So then some of the experiences that he's had is he's been laying in bed and he felt the blankets kind of, the way he mentioned it was they went under his legs, like somebody was tucking him in, and like he couldn't move. And Steve was like, is it the dogs? Because of course. And he said the dog is downstairs, not allowed upstairs. And then he also had scratches on his arm. So they've all had scratches in some way. They were very faint. And I will say a skeptic could point out that Mike's scratches kind of look like what happens if you fall asleep in one position for a long time, like on blankets, and you wake up and there's lines in your arms.
Yep.
Kind of looks like that. So a skeptic, again, I'm not discrediting Mike's experience, but I'm just saying a skeptic could say this is like, it's not definitive proof that something happened to him.
Yep.
So then we go to the research portion and we meet genealogist Kim McDonald. So here's
not a gynecologist.
Not a gynecologist. So here's where we get the history of the place that they're living. Rudy Rothacker bought the land in 1946, and he built the house they're in now by hand. So this house was built, math, like 75-ish years ago.
Wow.
And Rudy and his brothers owned a mining company called Rothacker Mining Company. Took it over when his father passed away. He married Arlene, his wife Arlene, and a year after moving into the house, they welcomed their son Richard and then their daughter Gloria. Now, Richard was kind of a problem child. In 1967, he joined the military right in the height of the Vietnam War. However, he went AWOL. The military looked for him, found him at home, hide better, and they put him in jail for deserting. And this was a big deal. It actually made the town newspaper. Oh. So, Rudy's got a little bit of shame. You don't want your son to be labeled a deserter. So the mine closes. They just couldn't sustain it anymore. Then Rudy dies of a heart attack while eating dinner at his kitchen table.
Oh my God.
55 years old. Died.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
very,
too young.
Very young. Oh, it gets better. Richard then moved in, or was living there, was mowing the lawn, drops dead of heart attack. 35 years old.
What?
Right in the middle of the yard, drops dead of heart attack. So then Steve asks about Arlene. Well, how's she doing? Well, she didn't do too well because after Rudy died, her sister-in-law sued her for the land, claiming that it was the family's land and it should stay in the family. And she won. So she won the land. They told Arlene she could keep the house. And so she stayed in the house. 1987, she died. Guess what she died of?
Was it a heart attack?
It was a heart attack.
Oh.
She was 63 years old. Died while sitting in the living room on her couch.
Wow.
Yeah. So then we go to Mary Jamba, and she's kind of a historian. And she talks about a mining accident that occurred. So January 3rd of 1931, they were at the Midvale coal mine, which was 1 mile from the property. 19 men went into the coal mine, and they went 3 miles down via elevator. They had to get really, really far down.
Right.
Then they split into teams, and they made crude explosives to break open the coal so it's easier to extract. They put 2 charges into the wall. This one team did. Those charges misfired. A fireball ended up shooting backwards, igniting 24 sticks of dynamite. So essentially this was a chain reaction. The charge misfired, threw a fireball backwards, 24 sticks of dynamite went off. 1 man was blown 15 feet and killed instantly. Wow. The other 4, their eardrums popped, so they couldn't hear anything. And it was totally dark because, of course, the explosion blew out all the lights. So they couldn't hear, they couldn't see. They're trying to escape, and they all died being overcome by toxic fumes.
Oh, my God. I'd rather be that guy that got blown up.
Yeah, exactly. At least he died right away.
Right.
So 5 people died in that mine. So it was not good. So then we go to, we have our library research, combing through the archives. And so we go to a local journalist, John Baker, and he tells us about a poorhouse fire. So he said in the early 1800s, Ohio authorized poorhouses for indigent people. And I don't know what an indigent people is.
It's people that don't have means. They don't have money. They don't have a home.
Oh, like homeless, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't know why we can't say homeless, but whatever. So we have poorhouses for indigent people. This was built about a mile from their house. Terrible conditions, as I'm sure you can imagine. Mental health patients who were there were treated like prisoners, confined to their cells, didn't get any sort of treatment, pretty much ignored. Great, I'm sure, for their mental health.
Yeah.
Then we have Matilda Cray. She was 25 years old. She was brought in because she was setting her clothing on fire. And they thought, you know what we should do? Put her in a cell and not monitor her.
Oh, Jesus.
So March of 1858, she fastened a rope out of clothing, threw it through her cell bars, and it landed on the stove and it caught fire. And then that caused the entire room to ignite. Not great. All 5 of the inmates inside were burned to death, including Matilda. The newspaper said it was so bad that even the arms and the legs were gone. And so then they started talking about, Steve said, well, that's a really bad way to die. And I was like, yes, it is, Steve. And so he said, I wonder if they're who's in the house. And they were like, well, I don't know. That's what Amy's here for. So then we go to the Amy's arrival, and she gets there and instantly she feels sick. She's not in a, she doesn't like it. It's not a good place. She goes down inside and goes into the basement, and standing at the top of the stairs, she sees quite a few people in the basement hiding. She said at least 10 men, women, children, all of them. They think Amy is evil. She said something has happened to them to make them afraid of people like me, people like mediums.
Oh.
She said the dead people come into the back room often. The one that Steve said, Steve went into, Holly said was the really creepy one. Mm-hmm. She sees them sinking into the walls. She said the living would hear them talking. She said mainly men. She said they would also hear them walking and they might see shadow figures. And then she says, this is bad. And next we encounter a little girl. Now, what do we know about children ghosts?
They are not always children.
They are not always children. So keep that in mind as we go through this walk, because spoiler alert, she's not a child.
Ugh.
So Amy sees the little girl, and she's told by the dead people, they're telling her not to be fooled by her, that she's not what she seems. Hint number 1. Amy says she wants a living child. She said sometimes she'll take living people. She said she takes them and they're gone. And Matt says, where do they go? And Amy said they disappear. She plays with them until they die, basically, and then they're dead. Yes. So that's great. She also says the little girl is an animal and she does not want them back in the woods. She can change shape and get bigger.
Oh.
She said the living would see something in the woods. She said they would see an animal that's scary to them. And the dead people indicate to Amy that she comes from the woods, from the trees, says she's always been there since the beginning of time.
It really does sound like a Wendigo.
Yeah. And she takes people.
Yikes.
So then we go, and she has taken people in the past. So then we're going into the bedroom, the master bedroom. And she said there's a male entity and he's very angry. She said the living would have experience with him. She also says he's inside her. She can't see him, but she can kind of feel him. And he says that he can jump people really easily, but that's not what he wants. He wants to basically, she said, meld with them.
Ew.
Yeah, it's not great.
Sounds worse.
She hears him yelling at her to get out of there. She said the living would be restless. They would be irritated. They'd be aggressive. They'd have a really really sudden mood changes. And she said it's more intimate than jumping. She's talking about melding. She said he knows them and he knows everything about them. And that's a sound clip that I have.
Okay.
And then she says he's arguing with somebody else. She said the living would hear that. They would hear arguing. She said she hears a man she feels a man who's agitated, that feels like his life was a failure. And she said when she tries to tap into his energy and kind of learn more about him, she gets very nauseous.
Oh.
She also sees a little old woman in a chair like she's the queen. She's glaring at Amy and she says, I am at war with you. Why would I speak to you?
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
super
aggressive.
Angry. Yeah. Yeah. Calm down. She owned the property and she had kids and she does not want living people here. She wants them out. She said she's trying to influence living people in some way to get them out, possibly plotting murder to get them out.
Yeesh.
Yeah. So we go back outside and she sees the little girl and she thinks the little girl killed those people in the basement.
Oh.
And then she said she can kill a lot of people if she touches the ground. And then that's the end of her walk. we go to the sketch and she's, drawing this and draw this. And yes, that's what I saw.
Is this what you saw?
Yes, Amy. Amy, is this what you saw? Oh my God, no, that's nothing like what I saw.
You're not even listening.
You're shit. That's a picture of a dog. I said it wasn't the dogs. So we're at the reveal, and Holly and Mike are at the reveal. So she said the first place she went was in the basement, and she said she saw a lot of people down there, and she said you might hear voices, and Holly confirms that she hears voices down there all the time. She said she hears male voices. She said I feel watched, and Amy said that the living would feel watched and they might see shadow figures. And then that's when Steve kind of was like, oh my God, I can't believe her. Like, she's blowing my mind again.
Yeah.
Same, Steve. And Holly talks about how she feels watched. She feels uncomfortable. And that's when we get the first sketch. I don't know which sketch you got.
I have a bed and people around.
Nope, that's not the one.
Okay.
So this is the first sketch. Let me see if I can enlarge it and try to show it to you.
Okay.
Wait, I'm trying to get it.
Is that the people in the basement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not.
I think I remember seeing that one. Yeah, that's okay.
So
I'll find out. I'll take a snap of it.
There's some people, and I'll email it or send it to you.
Okay.
So it's showing some actual people in the basement, like wearing clothes and hats. There's a creepy old woman in the corner, a little girl holding onto a man's pants. And then in the back, there's a bunch of shadow people in the room. Some of them are kind of creeping out, above, like looking around the corner. Not great. And so then she talks about the elderly woman who was sitting in the chair. She said she looked to be in her 80s, and she said she owned the house. So she owned the house and she doesn't want living people here. And so Steve goes through the history of the house, talks about Arlene, says she's pretty much the only person it could be. It's only really been owned by that family and now this family. I mean, there's not a ton of history, not a ton of people who could have owned it. So then we go upstairs, and Amy said she went into the room to the left, which was Holly and Mike's bedroom. Said she heard an angry older dead guy in there. Said alive, he spent a lot of time at the house, and she said she heard him arguing with another male, extremely angry and regrets his life. She said he feels like his life was a failure. Steve thinks maybe it was Rudy because he's got the failed coal mining company, got his son Richard, who wasn't the best,
right?
When AROL went to jail for it.
Yeah.
So then Steve says Rudy died at 55 and then Richard dies at 35. Amy thinks that it's the son. She does not think it's Rudy. Okay. And she talks about screaming upstairs and that he's just really angry. She said he told her to get out. And then Holly has, said that, when she's in the bedroom, she's heard somebody say, get out of here. She said he makes people feel irritated and aggressive. Holly talks about her behavior, being like super in a decent mood. And then all of a sudden really fast, she'll just be really pissed off and irritated. She doesn't remember doing it. And then Amy said that's all Richard. And she talks about the melding where he like goes into your body. So then they talk about melding. Holly says she got held down. Hand went up her body. And then she said her face was pushed into the pillow. Now here, everybody's been Team Mike, right? Yay, he won't leave his wife. Oh my God, this is so sweet. Then Mike says, I think it's cool. And Steve goes, this guy's a dick and you think it's cool? And Mike goes, yeah.
Oh my God.
So this guy is assaulting your wife. And you're like, oh, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Kind of guy.
Yeah, kind of a dick.
See what he has to say. So then she said
hang on a second.
Okay.
We have a dog issue.
Uh-oh.
Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Remember how I said that Gracie chewed the pop thing and I don't need it anymore, so I threw it over my shoulder?
Yes,
she found it.
Yep.
She found it, and she and Vivian were both chewing it.
She said she heard you. She was like, oh my God, Mom doesn't care.
She doesn't need it anymore. I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
Plastic and wires. It's fine.
What could go wrong?
Jeez.
So Amy says, that's okay. Amy says she's most concerned about a little dead girl. She said she went out back and this girl became a bizarre, like, animal creature thing. The dead told Amy that she comes from the trees or the woods. And they also told her again that it's been here since the beginning of time and has never been human. Steve talks about
Hence
Zach.
The title.
There it is.
There it is.
Steve talks about Zach and what he saw. Said Zach said it looks like a deer standing up, and Amy said, "Oh shit."
Wait a second. Who's Zach?
Zach is their family friend. They were
right.
In the
Okay.
field.
Right.
So again, this thing doesn't want living people here. Amy felt that she had killed people in the basement. She said it's also fixated on a child in the house, one that's living. And she said that, and Holly's youngest, Dryden, says that he's seen a little girl and has talked to a little girl. And Amy said, well, she thinks that this little girl wants the older boy.
Yikes, the one who's nonverbal. Ugh.
And Holly says that he can't communicate, but she but she said he knows that she knows he's communicating with something. So that's never good.
Nope.
And so the attack on the parents is Richard. So the scratches and everything, that's Richard. But the kids, Amy thinks that's the little girl. So then we get to the advice. So the first thing to do is that Arlene and Richard need to be removed. And Amy's going to bring her own team in to handle this.
Oh, good.
So this is serious. Yeah. Not that the other people aren't as legitimate. I'm not discrediting them at all.
Right. But sometimes it's like you have to get a shaman who's, and all these weird qualifications, and then they can't find anybody like that. Yeah. So it's nice when she is able to give her team in.
So she said one of her team, a very calm male medium, will work with the basement people to move them on. Then she said after that, her team needs to set up communication with the thing outside, and that's what she referred to it as. She said they need to set up a barrier from the yard to the house to verify what is the thing's territory and what is the family's territory. After that, the team will be able to tell Holly if they can do anything or if they have to move. So then 40, Steve is like, okay, well, what are you, how do you feel about this? And Mike says he doesn't know where he stands on the situation, on that situation specifically, meaning the thing in the woods.
Oh.
He would need to experience something.
Oh,
and Steve goes, quote, so you need to experience one of the kids disappearing?
Uh-huh.
And Mike is like, yeah, pretty much.
He'd probably think it was cool.
Yeah. And Steve is like, so you believe the ghost, you believe everything Amy is telling you about the house, but you don't believe the thing in the woods. And Mike is like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Jeez. Why draw the line there? That doesn't make any sense.
And then Steve has the best line in the show, and he goes, there's no friggin' buddy out there. Like, this is the middle of nowhere. Like, what do you need to experience? I don't get it. And then
make Mike sleep in the woods for a couple of nights.
Yeah.
By himself, all alone.
Yeah. How would you like them apples? Holly, of course, is like, oh, he's just always going to be skeptical. No, Steve is skeptical. But when there's evidence presented to Steve, he believes it.
Yeah. Now there's plenty of people that we all know who will not believe something, even if there's flat out proof.
Greg.
They will. Well, yeah, I do mean him with the paranormal stuff, but there are other people in the world, like some people that I'm related to, that say they need proof.
Yep. And then you give them proof. And
of
they're like, well,
COVID, of vaccines being sent, whatever it is. And you can give them proof, but if it doesn't fit their worldview, they're not going to believe it, because that means everything that they believe has to be thrown out, and they won't do that. No matter how much proof you give them, they will still keep saying, I need proof.
Bingo. Yep. So 5 weeks later, we get a video follow-up from Amy. And she said, from Holly.
I was going to say.
From Holly. So she said, Amy's team came in, cleared all the negative energy. There's no activity.
Wow.
Everything is going well. And she thanked everybody for coming out. She said everything is amazing and it's going great.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Hope she ditched Mike, though.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. When he was like,
what a jerk.
And even Steve is like, are you, he's like, this is in Brooklyn. Literally, he said that. There's no friggin' body out there. This isn't Brooklyn, I'll tell you that.
Not for nothing, but
you crazy. So I started out big fan of Mike.
Yeah.
Ended up hating Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. He was kind of a
douche.
jerk. Yep.
So
well, good. I'm glad that they got rid of everything.
Mm-hmm.
We don't often see that in these episodes.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Marty.
And I'm Effie.
And we are the Mums, Mysteries and Murder podcast.
Each month we take turns bringing you mysteries and true crime stories from our respective homelands, Australia and Scotland.
But be warned, there's no shrimps on the Barbie or oui, Jimmez.
Excellent accent, Marty.
No one has shrimps on the Barbie in Australia. It's prawns, and they don't even have prawns on the Barbie. Anyway.
Disappointed. You can find us on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, and join us over on Mums, Mysteries and Murder on Instagram.
It's not big or clever, but it is entertaining.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a suggestion for which episode of The Dead Files we should cover next, or if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds podcast network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.